Maintaining that trust requires constant communication that is open and honest while maintaining mutual respect for each other. The process of establishing trust empowers each group to make thoughtful decisions. So I think we as a community need to hit the reset button. We need to agree to start moving forward. We need to raise the level of engagement across all the channels, everything, and welcome constructive feedback that we can build on. Thanks.
Okay, so the question was, how do I plan to rebuild trust with the community within the school board? The question is, where did it go? It used to be there. The longtime Norwich residents know what I believe the reason that the attendance started to go down in the meetings. These were our neighbors, our friends, our coaches that we elected in and trusted. Unfortunate happenings over the years, people still didn't get involved until it came to a head. In my opinion, the only way to rebuild the trust with the community, which the school does need the support of the community, is to make sure that it's completely transparent. I would like to implement, if elected, a form of communication that goes beyond the internet. We have a lot of residents that are not on the internet. Kind of a state of the district, that month to month as of our meetings, this is what's going on. This is what we're doing to improve. These are your suggestions you gave to us, and this is how we are going to implement them. Without the community knowing in all aspects, there's no way to regain the trust. These doors, these books, they need to be open to every extent of the law. The community needs to know that the board members are doing everything that they can, everything within their power. And let's face it, a lot of the recent decisions came down to a financial situation. Finances break trust really quick. Has every single last move been made? Has every contract been looked at? Every expenditure been looked at? From the large to the small. Some people say the small don't matter. A couple $1,000s a month means a full-time teacher over the course of a year. As things get opened up and some new members come in, some new ideas come into the board, as a reminder, there's 3 seats open with this election. The way to build the trust is to open up. Keep that communication open. Prove to the community that with what is set at hand going into next year, that each and every board member, the superintendent, and the teachers are doing everything within their power to grow the school from this point on instead of keeping it down. Thank you.
This is a hard one, and just like my peers here have said, you know, trust is the most difficult word to earn, but yet it's the easiest to lose. In my opinion, transparency over time is what will earn trust of the community by making decisions that are fiscally responsible. Fiscal responsibility is a major part in this community. Trust to understand the financial health of the district to prevent future deficit spending. Having more community engagement, having more parents be involved, join the subcommittees, be a part of our extended team from the board. Being visible in the community, being able to be accessible to parents, the taxpayers. And then lastly, a level of trust and accountability amongst ourselves as board members is key to be successful going forward in making effective decisions. Thank you.
Okay, the second question. What will you do to address the problems our schools face with the current budget as we also try to provide the children of District 80 with the best educational experience for all to succeed in the 21st century?
So regardless whether or not the referendum passes in April, I think it is important to perform a complete review of the budget from the bottom up. We must try to align the needs of our students with the best possible options and alternatives to optimize the best use of our taxpayers' money. I think we should take a look at where the money is currently being spent and try to see if there are better ways for us to provide different options and alternatives while taking into account the cost. Going back to the first question, obviously, I think the main thing is try to communicate with you parents to see how you guys can help us provide additional options and try to see how we can prioritize the needs of the kids to improve and provide a better and exceptional educational experience for us that we could all be proud of. Thank you.
Right. Yeah, so let's break down this question first. Addressing our school district's budget. So whether the referendum passes or not, we should evaluate the talent and resources we currently have versus what we need to provide a quality education for our kids. We should maximize the efficiencies and identify gaps where additional resources are needed. And we should constantly reevaluate this process to ensure that our goals are being met. Check along the way. Secondly, providing the best educational experience for all to succeed in the 21st century. I'll read you a quote from an article I read on TED.com. I love TED.com. It's from Tony Wagner, who's an expert in residence at Harvard's Educational Innovation Center and the author of The Global Achievement Gap. He says, "We are prisoners of the pictures and experiences of the education that we had. We want schools for our kids that mirror our own experience or what we thought we wanted. However, that severely limits our ability to think creatively of a different kind of education. Unfortunately, there's no way of tweaking the assembly line of education, or no way tweaking the assembly line of education will meet the 21st century world. We need a major overhaul." I believe the rapid growth of technology and the rise of global connectivity, both social and economic, require a dramatic change in how we view educational preparedness. Critical thinking and analysis are an imperative skill that our children must learn. For example, data analytics is part of every business model these days. Large corporations are putting millions of dollars into collecting data, analyzing it, and making strategic decisions to grow their business. Google, Amazon, Ford, Facebook, they're all doing it, to name a few. I also believe in the value of intrinsic motivation in the pursuit of personal interest. Every one of us has an interest in something. I'd be willing to bet that interest was with you even when you were a child. For me, it was sports. I played softball in elementary school, tennis in high school, intramural sports in college. I was racing mountain bikes for the past 15 years. I am an athlete. It's who I am. And it's a part of everything that I do. It developed my focus, my drive, my determination, my confidence, and my wacky sense of humor. I believe every child absolutely needs to develop their own personal interest, and we should support them in their journey. Thank you.
Okay, so the fun stuff, the budget, the stuff that the current board is having fun with, and that many boards to come are going to have a blast with. But let's face it, nobody wants an increase in taxes. My plan to help fix the budget and get it back on track is, like I said the last time I was up. Every aspect needs to be explored, including those that our school board and our superintendent have not explored yet. And that's something that I've been doing research on and looking into a lot, and that's outside funding. There are other aspects as well that will come in and help schools. It does take a lot of work, it does take a lot of reports, and you have to apply for them. But my firm belief is we have not exhausted every single aspect available to us yet. Taxes are important. The school district needs money. We need to get the trust back. We need to open up to the community. We need to let the community know exactly what the state is putting on us and not helping us with. As some of you that have been to some of the board meetings or Dr. O'Malley's presentations, that is no lie. It is no joke. Every single year, and the board members can vouch for it, there are new rules brought in, new laws brought in by the state that is not the school's choice, but the state does not pay for it. I think a lot of this information the community doesn't know about. Is District 80 going to need a tax raise in the future? Yes. It's inevitable. That's just the truth. My plan needs to be exhaust every avenue possible, save every dime we can while this transition happens, and keeping and improving the education for the kids. Then and only then have we proved to the community that we have a budget plan, that we can move forward and ask for their help to build this into something even better. There's a lot to do with the budget as well with curriculum. There are things that can be brought up, things that are currently in motion to get our junior high specifically on track with our high school that has had tax increases, has had referendums, and has brought amazing programs into this community. The junior high has fallen short right now. That needs to be a huge focus. We can change curriculum. What we don't have is STEM labs. The classrooms that this junior high is in going into this great high school are the same as when I graduated in 1991. Not a cabinet door changed. Not a Bunsen burner changed in the science rooms. They're the same. This is stuff that has been let go. So to fix the budget, number one, we need to make sure every avenue has been reached, period, inside and outside. Number two, get the trust of the community back by proving to them that we have done everything we can. And then ask the community for help, because it will need a raise in taxes, just as you guys have a job. If you have a job, you wouldn't like to go 20, 30 years without a raise. It's been 24 years since there's been a tax raise for District 80. We've supported the rest of the community. We need to gain the trust back so the community can trust the district again and help us out. Just as my grandparents did with my parents. Just as they did for the park. Just as they did for Ridgewood High School. Everything has to be open. Everything has to be transparent. Everything has to be exhausted before we put the burden on the community. Thank you.
Okay. So as my peers have all discussed, we all agree that District 80 has definitely been at the back burner of the community as far as tax increases to support the schools. We are in dire need of funding to help with our schools and to make changes that will benefit the students. So my approach to this issue regarding our budget, which is a huge problem not only just for North School District 80, but for all public schools in recent years, partly due to less funding from the state and more mandates. We constantly get things that we have to implement in the school from the state with no funding. Where do you get the money to implement these programs? This board and previous boards since 2008 have chosen to spend down the reserves. And those reserves have been spent to support the children and their development and education. My goal moving forward is to look at every possible opportunity within our budget to keep District 80 from continually deficit spending. I would like to seek opportunities to bring our special ed kids back home. That is the biggest chunk of our budget goes towards special ed. We have resources. We can definitely bring those kids back to our schools and have them at home with their brothers or their sisters. So we need to make that a priority and look at ways of bringing our special ed students back.